In this video, I'm going to talk about the corrective forms. In wave principle, we have four core patterns. It's the flat, the zigzag, and the triangles. We already talked about diagonals and leading and ending diagonals. Right now, in this video, we are going to talk about the corrective patterns, such as flat, zigzag, and triangles. The main idea of corrective pattern is that after an impulse, the price is gonna go back at least three movements. The first movement that goes counter trend, that means opposite weight of the impulse, it's gonna be our A. Then it's going to try and go up again, and that's our B, and the last try is going to be C. C is going to rewind to the place that we expect depending on the pattern. If it's a flat, it's going to go back to 382. If it's a zigzag, it's going to go back to 618. That means how much a pattern retraces. Flats are small, zigzags are large. Triangles are indecision. So you can see that the shape is getting close into an apex. People don't know if it's going to go up or it's going to go down. But the trend is your friend. It can help you spot the next movement because this is the main trend. It's going to go and follow it. And we also have the various versions. It's just the same, just inverted. It happened after the impulse movement down. Then you have three movements up, A, B, C, to a certain level, and then it goes back to make a new low. This is the main confirmation of a pattern when it makes a new low. Once it makes a new low, then you know that this is actually ABC. If it goes up and make a new high, then this is not an impulse. It may be an ABC to go up. So you have to be careful with tops and lows of the last movement. When we talk about corrective waveform, we can see that they have a retracement level where the price is going to go back. If it's a flat, it's going to go back to 382 and then move up. The trend is always going to mark the next movement. In this case, the impulse that happened before our corrective wave started. The price is going to move up, and there's at some point when you're going to see one movement strong to the other side. That's our wave A. The first movement counter trend is wave A. Then it's going to try to go up again. That's B. And the last one is going to be our C. B is always corrective, so that it could be an ABC to go down. It could be a triangle to go down. It could be a zigzag to go down. But it's not going to go away, so don't worry and be patient be patient and wait for C to be completed. In here, you can spot candlestick patterns, ending diagonals, and such things that can make you visualize a completed pattern before it actually goes up. That's the place where you want to wait and get in. Our wave C. If even it's a flat or a zigzag or even a triangle, you wait for E. E, in the case of triangles, they cannot get to the trend line and move up. That's truncation. But E can also break below. But E can also break below the pattern, the structure of it, and then turn around. This is called overthrow. And triangles are really important because they only happen on wave 4 or wave B. And we're going to talk about the location of the wave later. But for now, just learn that there are only three main corrective forms, and you can see them here: flats, zigzags, and triangles. Whatever they do, they are always like one movement strong, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 movements. The price looks lateral. It can be something like this, and you don't know what the hell is this, but you already know that inside there must be A, B, and C, and go up. Just keep it simple. One movement up, three movements stuck, and then it goes break above the top and goes away. How do you paint the patterns? You use a trend line on the top and then on B. You can duplicate this line and push in here in A to find where C is going, or also use parallel channels. We're going to talk about that in the next video. For now, just paint the shapes using tops and lows, and you can spot these two letters, the N and the Z. The N is flat, the Z is zigzag. We also have to be aware that we have different variations depending on the pattern. It's not always a complete flat movement where A and C has the same level. We maybe see something like an expanded flat or also a running flat. As you can see, the running looks diagonalish. I don't know if that's a word, but the main idea is that the C doesn't go above A and B goes below the last impulse. That means it's running. Sellers in this case are not waiting for it to go up, they are starting to sell before time, and that can show you that this is going to go fast. Running flats mean that the next movement is going to be sharp. Expanded flat, maybe here is some kind of indecision happening, like a lot of sellers push it down but not enough, and a lot of buyers think it's time to go around but it's not enough, and then the price makes a new low. Human always respond to number 3, like 1, 2, 3, and then we move. In triangles, we can also see some variations when the common one is the contracting. You can see that it's getting even closer to the apex, and then it breaks to the other way, with more chance of going from the last impulse did. In the barrier triangle, we have a horizontal, like a barrier, like a shield, where the price doesn't go below, but it's getting even shorter in the top. That's a contracting triangle, and it also depends on the last movement where it's going to go. And the expanded triangle is something that looks like a spider, or that's how I see it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E. Just remember that E can go above it and then turns around, or it could also not go above it and go back before, and that's truncation. And about zigzags, we can also have the truncated C that may look something like this, like a double top. But we can also have the extended zigzag that's really sharp and goes to the 786. But that's basically what we need to know about corrective forms, is that one: impulse, corrective, impulse. Impulse, corrective, impulse, impulse, corrective, impulse, different Fibonacci levels. That depends on my formation. And the only one that makes things a little bit different are triangles, because they are pre-terminals. That means that the next movement is not going to go very far to just turn around and make a new high in this case. Here we can see a different examples of flats. Here we can spot a running flat that goes 1, my movement is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And then what you have is 1, 2, and 3. You paint your trend lines, you can spot them. In the Fibonacci, they are gonna go like laddering up. In this case, one ladder down. Like, let's say that this is X18 and this is gonna be the 3A2. One ladder down, ABC, break, making a new low. It goes down. After this impulse that you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get our phase movement up, A, B, and C. This is also a running flat because C didn't make a new height, but it's our N. And later on we have another 1, 2, 3, and then it goes down. Another running flat. Here you can see another running flat, a smaller one. As I told you before about degrees and cycles, the smaller they are, the smaller degree you are in, and that may be showing you that this is an impulse. And this is a small flat inside an impulse, because it didn't take too much time, force or time to be completed. That's speed. Above here we can see a bigger N, and this is an expanded flat because B goes below my end of my wave here with its ending diagonal. My first counterflowing movement is A, then a B, and then you have C. And this C goes above A, so this is an expanded flat. Here's another case of multiple patterns that we can spot here. We can see here another flat. If you duplicate this line and put it here, you can see it's totally perfect. It's returning to the 618. We can also watch this as a zigzag. So that's why I never hesitate to call it flat or zigzag. The main idea is that it's corrective. It has 3 movements and it returns to a Fibonacci level. But for this case, let's keep it simple and watch the difference between this one and this one. Here you can spot the main difference between a flat and a zigzag. Zigzag looks pretty sharp, but it doesn't make a new height. It's 3 movements, A, B, C, and then it goes down. And then here you can see another expanded flat that keeps making a new low. All this is happening inside a channel, so the price is going down after this big pattern here. And then it happens small ones to continue the movement down. The zigzags, they look really sharp. They usually go back to the 618 and they look like impulsive A, corrective B, and impulsive C. As you can see, C is smaller than A, and it only has 3 movements, and then it broke above in a diagonal form. So maybe this can be a leading diagonal. You have an ABC, and then it broke again up. You have here another flat and goes up, and you can see here another ending diagonal. Here's another example of a zigzag. You just have to first identify your impulse and the first movement below the first movement, and you just have to see the first movement that goes as an impulsive wave, and then spot your first concentrated movement. That's gonna be your A. Then you have a correct B, in this case a small zigzag, and then C. At the end of C, you can see here an ending diagonal happening right at a 618. And then it makes a move that makes a new height. Then when this happens, a new height, this formation is confirmed. Because it could go down, and then this is not a zigzag to go up, but maybe an A, and this is corrective B, and this is corrective C. If it makes a new low, then this is not an impulse. If it doesn't make a new low and turn around, then maybe could be a zigzag for A, corrective wave for B, and another zigzag for C. And moving something like this. Here we have an example of the zigzag. This is usually what happens after a break above a trend line. You can see that the price broke above in impulsive movement. This is our impulse. This is our impulse. This is our impulse movement. We're gonna make this movement. This is our impulsive movement. We're gonna consider this as our impulse because it broke above this trend line. And maybe in the RSI it went to the levels of 70 or higher. Then we don't trade here, and we don't trade obviously here. We are not trying to catch the low. What we're gonna do is wait for getting our impulse to finish, and watch our first movement below. That's gonna be our wave A. Then it's gonna make a wave B trying to go up, and then we mark our trend line here. We trace our Fibonacci once this is completed, and we wait for the 618, and that's when we get in A, B, and C, and it breaks up above it, and then it goes away. Triangles. Triangles are really important because they look like really aggressive, but it doesn't go anywhere. And usually E does this. It goes away from the trend line here, but it did some kind of overthrow, or what people call fake out, and then it goes back up, and then it breaks to the other way, and that's where the price is gonna go. And I bet that this didn't go so far, and now it's going up. Who knows? But for now, this is a triangle. It's in A and B or C, or 1, 2. But for now, this is a triangle, and it happened, and 1, 2, 3 happening at wave B. So my guess is not going very far to the downside, but for now, we know that this went down because it happened after this impulse down. And maybe here I have some sort of ending diagonal. Here's another triangle that happened in another instrument. We can spot here my movement that finished with this first movement down. So I'm gonna consider this as my impulse, wave 1 or wave B. In this case, it cannot be wave 1 because triangles only happen at wave B or 4. And I don't see this being wave 4 unless I see like 1, 2, 3, 4. But 4 is getting inside this zone. Whatever it is, it's a triangle. I'm gonna label like this. As you can see, it didn't make a new low. It got stopped there and it was making lower heights. So I can count this as my first wave move A, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 2, 3, C, 1, 2, 3, D, 1, 2, 3, E. Triangles are 3, 3, 3, 3. But don't stress too much with this. Just watch the formations, paint the trend lines on the tops and the bottoms, and you're gonna see the shapes, and you know that's like 5 movements or 3 movements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it goes down. And it usually, once it breaks below a structure, it's gonna make some corrective wave before going down again. Here we have an expanded triangle. It was really interesting to see this because the 5 looks like it's truncated. And you have like an A, a B, and C, and D, and E. And E is also truncated, and it has movement downs, and then it broke above. Where did it happen? It happened at that wave 4 of this ending diagonal. Ending diagonals can have truncated 5. Leading diagonals don't. That's another difference between those two. especially if you see an expanded triangle at the wave 4 of an ending diagonal. So you know that once it breaks above it, it's going to go up. And that's it for this video. Once you know that flat, zigzags, and triangles exist in the market, you only have to spot them, and the best way to see them is to practice. And I want you to go to the past and see for yourself how these patterns keep repeating themselves every time. Sometimes you see one of them inside of another. That's what fractals means. But these are the shapes that change the combinations of waves that complete a cycle, or a movement, or an impulsive wave. So to finish this video, let's make this kind of exercise here. As you can see in the wave A, you are looking at a movement, and this movement have an impulsive movement, and then you have the first counter-trend movement. I want you to think about what this can be for a moment, if it's going up or if it's going down. To help you, just mark the trend lines on the tops and the bottoms, like this. We use our trend lines. So make a pause in this video. Try to have your answers ready, and once you have them, play again so that you can check which are the right answers to this. And this movement have an impulsive movement, and then you have the first counter-trend movement. I want you to think about what this can be for a moment, if it's going up or if it's going down. As you can see, the first movement is a flat. After an impulsive movement, I have an ABC, and then it goes down. The same goes for the second one. This is a zigzag. It returns to our same level. It looks like a Z, and it goes down, make a new low. In the Z, we have an ending diagonal that has 5 movements up, and then it goes down. It does a corrective wave and goes down again. In the last one, we have a triangle that the price is contracting itself, and it goes down because we can see that before it having another impulse to the same direction. If you got the answers right, you are in a good path. If not, then you have to practice again. I recommend you to go passing the charts and find for these patterns. They happen every time, in any time frame, in any instrument. Just make sure you spot the corrective form variations and be alert to spot all of these core patterns that we have already seen in this video and in the last one. That's it for this video. Hopefully you understand all these core patterns. I know it can be confusing when you just start. Don't stress too much with counting, just mark the trend lines and spot the patterns. They happen everywhere. See you in the next one.